our next two guests. They were about to start a play together, so we thought we'd invite them back to see if they're still talking to each other and playing with each other. Will you please welcome Katy Manning and Barry Crocker. Nice to see you.
I've got one from Moz's book. Can I do it?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay. This is from Moz's book. A mongrel. Bluey was on holiday in Europe, and while he was in Germany, he was visiting the famous red light district, you see, in Hamburg. Well, after being entertained by one of the local ladies of the night, negotiations were then entered into regarding the payment. How do you want your money, Bluey asked. Do you want German marks or Australian dollars? I would prefer to be given marks, she said. So he gave her 7 out of 10 and left.
Good book. All righty. Educating Rita, the play, packed houses?
Yes.
Up to now, which is
This
good
week,
news.
six packed houses. In fact, yesterday we had 60 sitting in the aisles, which is fantastic.
Isn't that wonderful? But a little ditty, the matinees can be a bit tricky.
Yeah. Well, you see what? It's on the HSC. It's on their curriculum. You see, so we get some schools that come in blocks. When in night time they come in too, and they're quite nice because a lot of adults are there. But when they come in a block, kids love this. It's a holiday for them. You know, they get to do all sorts of lovely little things. Their attention during the play is fantastic. But when the blackouts come and the scene changes, they get a little restless and they start poking each other. And they have little things like where they might flick the odd lolly onto the stage. You know, it'll go ping. I mean, about 2 days ago, I was hit in the crutch by a Smartie, you know.
That can sting.
Well, I was glad it wasn't an apple or something like that. The play would have taken on a whole new sort of context. Hi! But, you know, I mean, it's interesting because it's to see their faces out there. Some of them are really studying, and others, maybe that 2% are there really to have a hoot, and they'll do anything, you know. I mean, they find double entendres in the most simple lines. I mean, the laughs that we know we're going to get in certain parts of the play are there, but all of a sudden you say something. Katy has a thing where she's going through this very frustrating moment, for example, you know, and she can't get hold of this book, and she says, I don't know, he's just got me licked. They roar. They always say, why are they laughing? They see this little thing. And of course, every once in a while, like about 3 days ago, you know, there was a particular school in all the boys down the front having a nice little joke, which is lovely, and you know, it's what schoolboys are like. And the lights go out, and the scene comes up, and Katy's doing this little speech, and one of the boys, as only schoolboys would do, let go a noise which we all know. And it was a real seat rattler, you know. And, of course, and everyone in that vicinity, which is sort of disconcerting if you're trying to be dramatic, you know. No, the reaction has been terrific.
Different audiences.
Yeah.
Katy, last time we didn't mention the fact that you were in Doctor Who for 1 or 2 years.
It was probably very wise, actually,
For a long time. But then, as I understand it, a group from your fan club, the Aussie fan club, turned up the other night.
Yes, bless them, they turn up every time I do a play. There they are, smiling away at me. No, they're wonderful. They're very, very, very faithful fans, Doctor Who fans. They sort of, you know, been years and years following me around, seeing things I do.
And in the States, especially when you go to America, in fact, you're quite a status symbol, having been a Doctor Who.
I know. It's really weird because I was asked if I'd go over, because a lot of the Doctor Who people have been over to America to do conventions, right, you see, and I was asked if I'd like to go. And they took a long time to find me because they thought I was still in England, because by then I'd left for Australia. But finally they located me. And they said, would you come over to America? So I went, and I arrived. And there at the airport is a stretched black limo and bodyguards. And I thought, oh, this is a bit over the top, you know, typical American, isn't it? You know, just all too much. Well, I was playing football stadiums, and I walked in, and I stood up, and this is not bad going, I said, hello. And thousands of people just started screaming. So I thought, well, how do you follow hello? I mean, you know, if I say goodbye, do you think they'll still scream? And I did 14 cities in 14 days, and I discovered that's why you have the bodyguards, just to hold you up, because your body, at 14 cities of 40 days, you're absolutely shattered, you're wall bouncing.
It's real cult heroin stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's really weird, you know, because it gives a lovely balance in life, because you go over there and you go through all this, right? And then you come back and you're standing in Cole's New World, and you're sort of thinking, that butter's a bit expensive, I don't think I'll have that. And, you know, going from that to that, it's really nice, you know, getting on my bike.
Well, courtesy of the BBC, we actually got a clip here from The Lady in Action with John Pertwee. an episode called The Curse of Peladon.
Ooh.
Doctor Who. Now that had to be at least 2 years ago.
Oh, yes, maybe 2.5. Did you notice the eyelashes in the wind? I was trying to talk and the wind kept getting the eyelashes, and it's a little hard to talk because the eyes kept going.
How long ago was that, do you reckon?
Do I dare tell you? That was nearly 16 years ago.
Is that right? Do you remember Doctor Who? Oh, how old are we?
There's a line.
You were obviously 2 or 3 when you were...
Well, yes, I was very young and wearing very high platform shoes to climb mountains in, you know, good mountaineering gear. I have to tell you, it's really funny, when we were doing that one, I had a Carmen roller in my hair, and these photographs were sent up from the BBC. And when I got to America, they'd blown up these photographs and asked me to sign them. And I looked at them, and there's me with all these curls and a big Carmen roller stuck in the side of my hair. It's a futuristic hairdo.
Could have been a Dalek making love to your head for all you know.
Now, last time you were on, you did some voices for us, some impressions. You did Popeye.
Yeah.
And,
we found out when we started working together, a couple of years ago now, we were in a play where we played Americans, which is a nice change. And we found out that there were a lot of things similar in our lives. For example, with the same height, which is really strange.
Oh, really?
Hello, 1, 2, 3, Murray, come back. and no, we found that we'd sort of started doing this voices when we were kids. I mean, she'd hit a duck, I did my Tarzan, and then we did, you know...
Tarzan?
My Tarzan? You want to hear my Tarzan? Jane, I told you 1,000 times, grab hold of the vine. Go, go. I should do that for licorice box, you know. Thank you. And she did a duck, and you know, and then as we started to grow up, we started doing impressions of our favourite stars and heroes, and we found so many similarities in our life. This is why I think we have a similar sense of humour. We like the same people, except for Mick Jagger. We argue about Mick.
What you don't, but you do.
Yeah, she likes him.
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
I just think he's good for sticking on windows and cars, you know, because he's with the lips, you know, better than Garfield. You know, so we have this sort of, but that's about the only thing we disagree with. But we sort of love the same people, and we sometimes sit in the dressing room in between shows and we do voices for each other. I boarded the other night for about half an hour doing all the old ones, trying to remember them. Jimmy Stewart, you know, they used to call me tall in the saddle. Then my blisters broke. Good one for Ray. It's Ray Martin doing his impression of Humphrey Bogart looking at Luke in the cot. Now listen, kid, point that thing the other way. You know, so you sort of, and she does wonderful voices. Do Fenella Fielding, because this is for the English people.
Darling, I haven't done Fenella for simply years. I mean, she had this wonderful way of actually never opening her mouth.
You mightn't recognise the actress. You recognise that voice from all those English films.
Yes.
She was in Melbourne. That was the last thing that she did. That she died, unfortunately.
You said she was in Melbourne.
No, she's we're going to Melbourne.
Oh right, I knew somebody was.
She's in Melbourne, and we found that we do the same impressions. For example, this is tricky because she has that sort of voice, you know, and I sort of used to like to do. Quick, Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
My impression of Elizabeth Taylor.
Your impression of...
Yes.
Oh yeah, I do the fellas. He does the girls.
Elizabeth Taylor. Next. This is Murray Field's humour. I pitched all this for Murray, you see. But we found out we could do, like, I used to do an Eartha Kitt, for example, you know, and this is the way I used to do Eartha Kitt. I want to be evil. You see, and it's to hurt my larynx, you see. But she can do it without doing that, you see. Do you want a quick Eartha Kitt?
The final Eartha Kitt, go on.
The final. I just want to tell you how wonderfully exciting it has been to be on your show, and you make me feel that I want to be evil. I want to be bad.
All right. You can see Katy and Barry and Educating Rita at Sydney Seymour Centre for how many more weeks?
We just have two, Sydney Seymour, just tonight and tomorrow, our last 2 shows, and just strangely enough, because it's a long weekend, we have some seats, just a few left.
Tonight and tomorrow, the Seymour Centre, Educating Rita, and off to Melbourne when?
Opening Wednesday night for 3 weeks, and the bookings are going fantastic.
And bring lollies, because I like Maltesers.
But don't throw them at him.
Don't throw them at me.
No,
Don't
just
throw
me.
them
I'll get hungry.
Thanks, Katy. So tonight and tomorrow night at the Seymour Theatre. Don't miss it. Fantastic.
Seymour
Thank you,
Theatre.
Katy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry, as
Thank
always.
you.
Would you please thank Barbara? The Elton Jack Show, touring around